our distinguished students, we welcome all of us to this unique program marking the World Earth Day 2020. It's our pleasure to have you around to speak to our students, especially on the topic of today, which deals with drug use, drug abuse, and all related issues with drugs. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, who is unavoidably absent, she expressed a sincere welcome to you. For the students, it's a great opportunity to listen to this lecture. Lecture of this nature is expensive if you are to pay for it, but we thank God for the KODA organizing this at this auspicious time for us. We'll advise that you listen attentively, take notes, and make use of whatever information that has been given to us. We are here for a business and not for long speeches. Once again, I welcome all of us, and as the program progresses, we believe we'll greatly enjoy it. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
Firstly, I would like to explain what KODA Nigeria does as an organization. What we do basically is to empower young people with knowledge to make informed choices when it comes to drug use. Because we have come to understand that when people know better, they will do better. Many of those who have been overtaken by drugs today in our society started simply because they didn't know what they were taking at the time they were taking it. Somebody just introduced something to them. They took it for that very first time, and that was the bad journey towards using that drug for a very long time, which has, in many cases, led many to difficult situations. We have been to different institutions across southwest Nigeria, sir. Federal Universities and Polytechnics, state universities and polytechnics, private universities and polytechnics. But I can confidently say while standing here, sir, that Chrisland University stands among the very few number of institutions that we have been to that do not have drug issues at all with their students. I thank you.
The Indian hand, you are so familiar with the name. If you go to any motor park, it's a common thing you see almost around all the mechanic workshop and everywhere. A lot of people, even on the street, you see some boys smoking it. Now, Indian hand is common among students. I'm happy that we have not done screening anyway. That your school is very clean, which is a plus for you. Please keep it up. But a lot of students are bedeviled with Indian hand smoking. And the problem with that is that if you take Indian hand, one of the things it does is that it goes to a center in your brain that is called the cognitive domain. There's a place in your brain called the cognitive domain. And that center is the one that is responsible for your ability to sit down and listen to me, to concentrate for lectures, is the one responsible for your memory, is the one to be able to retain information and retrieve it when you need it during the exam, is the one responsible for recall, is the one also responsible for retention. Now what Indian hand does is that it goes to that place and distorts it. So you find that someone who is on Indian hand cannot last 30 minutes in the class. He's fed up. He or she wants to go out and come in. They don't have the capacity to assimilate for that long. And it can be that bad that you get to a point that if the person uses excessively, get to a point, even if you his exam period you gave him or her a textbook, this is the question, this is the answer is there. Bring it out and write, they won't be able to do it.
I want to make some clarification. In terms of definition, I've had some definitions today, and I thought I'd just say a few things about them. Two key terms, drugs and abuse. The definition of drugs in the field of drug addiction is different from dictionary definition of what drugs are. And the definition of abuse is different from what the dictionary definition of abuse is. And I think we should just be clear on that. Now, Along the line, I will stop using the word drug. I will be using the word substance. Because using the word drug in drug addiction can be confusing, because there are some terms that will be mixed up. Now, in drug addiction field, when we talk about drug, we are talking about substances which may be medicine, which may not be medicine. It doesn't matter. So medicines can be addicted to. Some medicines cannot be addicted to. When we go by the strict definition of drug abuse. For example, things like paracetamol that was mentioned. Paracetamol is a substance, is a medicine, but in the strict definition of drug addiction, is not a substance that can be abused. But going by the dictionary definition of abuse, it can be abused. Now, for us to say a substance can be abused, we will refer to a substance that has some characteristics. The substance must act on the brain. The point at which the substance acts must be on the brain. There are so many medicines that act on our body without touching the brain. Antibiotics, for example, they act in our body, but they don't touch our brain. They touch the bacteria. Malaria too did not touch the brain. Paracetamol too doesn't touch the brain per se. So also many other medicines. But a substance like diazepam or retinol or codeine, they cannot produce their effect without acting on the brain. A substance like cannabis can also not produce its effect except it acts on the brain. So also substances like cocaine, alcohol, cigarette, and so on. So a substance that can be abused in this sense must act on the brain. That is the first characteristic. The second characteristic is that it must act on the brain, altering the way we think, one, the way we feel, two, the way we perceive, three, and the way we behave. If a substance acts on the brain and does not have these four characteristics, then it is not a substance we are referring to.
In anything, always desire to get understanding so that it can be of benefit to you in life. And I believe all of you here, you have something to take away that will be of benefit to you in life. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to 2022 edition of the annual Drug Abuse Awareness Campaign organized by Knowledge Over Drug Abuse, KODA, a non-governmental organization, to commemorate World AIDS Day. The fight against drug abuse is not an easy task, particularly in this time in our nation and globally, where drug abuse is fast becoming a pandemic, and our youths are the most vulnerable of the age groups. The youth and students alike of every nation is the future of that nation, and drug abuse is fast ravaging our youths and students. Hence, all hands must be on deck to salvage them. The Ogun State government, through the activity of the Ogun State Drug Control Committee, has focused its drug abuse sensitization and enlightenment campaign among the younger generations as a major thrust. Till date, we already have 150 secondary schools across the 3 senatorial districts which have been sensitized and enlightened on the dangers inherent in drug abuse with formation of drug-free clubs in these schools. Tertiary institutions have also not been left out. In this particular tertiary institution, I mean Chrisland University. This same committee, OSDE, has propagated the campaign against drug abuse. I hope you have been well fed with this knowledge, and we appreciate that you put it to use in your future endeavor. Thank you for listening and wishing you fruitful academic endeavors.
They have given you drug abuse as it is, globally. Travel abroad, go anywhere, what you have heard from them, that is what is obtainable. I'm going to speak on security challenges as a result of drug abuse. Security challenges on national security, whatever you call it. I'm not going to talk more on what is drug abuse, what is the causes of drug abuse, because the doctor, they have said it all. I want to read this abstract for you people. It says, Nigerian future security are not dependent on financial investment, securing weapons, large and formidable personnel, but it's also on how social and medical condition of the people are handled, especially the area of discipline, use and control of illicit and licit drugs. You can ascertain with me that most of our cities, both urban and rural area, is characterized by a substantial number of persons, mostly youths, who loiter the street in racks, psychologically displaced, socially rejected and abandoned by the state approaches, consequence to drug use and drug misuse. Since the dawn of new millennium, the whole world has been exposed to various security challenges, especially our country, Nigeria. We know the security situation in our state, in our country. And this insecurity is a threat to life, property, as well as economic growth and development. All these and other crimes have drug abuse as its predisposing factor. You heard when the first lecturer is saying that people use drugs and they commit a lot of crime. Drug use propels people to commit crime. And when we are talking of national security, countries protecting their people, their property and their individual. And all of us are aware of what is happening today. Do we say that our country is being protected? Hello, students. Are we safe? No. Yes. With all this happening in the country, nobody is safe. And if our youth should continue to indulge on drug use, misuse, trafficking, etc., etc., the future of the country is not assured. I want to start by also saying that we as an individual can also help by whatever we have learned today from this lecture, sharing it with our friends, our family members. If there is anybody that is intending to use drugs, the person should desist from it. Thank you for listening.